So I tried my best to leave out some of the, like, gimmicky bar trick kind of techniques. Not that things like volume swells and dive bombs and shit like that, I'm not saying they're bar tricks. However, this is stuff that, like, it's all essential things that you need to be a well-rounded guitar player. I'm just ranking them by how essential is it? Now, essential to what, you may ask? I don't fucking know. Enough chatting, let's jump right in. I think we'll start with open chords. Might come as kind of a surprise to you guys. I don't think they're super essential. I mean, it's just kind of something you learn when you start playing guitar. If you're going to be playing some kind of acoustic gig, though, or something of that nature, it's good to know them. Open chords, like I said, you're just going to learn them anyway. I mean, it's not essential to playing guitar, but it's kind of like a staple to playing guitar. We're off to a really shitty start. Let's keep it with chords. Let's do power chords. Another thing that it's just like you're going to learn that shit anyway. And it's kind of like, if you don't know how to play power chords, just go learn how to play them. It'll take like 5 minutes. Is it completely essential? No. Some genres of music would not use power chords. It is very essential, though. I think it's an A tier. Bar chords! Leave a like if you guys thought up until about a year ago that bar chords was spelt B-A-R. Okay, does it not make fucking sense? That's a bar, right? Am I fucking stupid? Was that just me? Bar chords are S tier. They're probably one of the most essential things in music. In guitar playing. Fuck! It's just like you can look at a chord chart and play every chord on there if you know your bar chords. Look, F, F sharp, G, A flat or G sharp, whatever you fucking feel today. Stop being such a pussy and do your bar chords. Please. It's not fucking hard. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Oh my god, the F is such a fucking hard chord. Complex chords. Now this is anything that's not a major or a minor chord. So you got like major 7, minor 7, major add 9, minor add 9, diminished, augmented. These are not essential. They're good, though. If you want to put color in your playing, shut the fuck up, phone. If you want to have some color in your playing, very essential. Because listen to this shit. Yeah, it's a cool sounding chord. A major. There's so many things I could do with it, though. I could add 9, or I could even, like, figure out ways to resolve back to that A major. So, like, a dominant 7 with a 13. Over to an add 9. Over to back to an A major. See that shit? It's very, very, it adds a lot of fucking color to your playing, and I'm not gonna lie, the guitar is not a very colorful instrument compared to fucking keys or something like that. So it is nice. I'm gonna put it in either B or C, because it's definitely not fucking essential. It just opens up a lot of doorways. Fuck me. Let's put it in B tier. I don't even know if that's vibrato. Vibrato. Again, it's something that adds color to your playing. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's not something like bar chords or power chords where you're extremely limited without it. You can play rhythm without vibrato to a point. Speaking of that, let's do rhythm. I've said this 1.5 million times on this fucking channel. Rhythm is the most important fucking thing. It's definitely S tier. You can play some of the most complex fucking sweeping fucking Jason Richardson, Steve Vai, suck my balls. You can be an extremely technical guitar player, and if you can't stay on the beat, then you're not a fucking good guitar player, and everyone's gonna make fun of you on the internet. I can't hold a rhythm on the drum kit to save my life. I can hold a good... Ah, fuck! Rhythm is S tier, you have to have it. And so many guitar players neglect the shit out of it, it's ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, like, guitar players aren't bass players. You can be a little behind the rhythm or a little in front of the rhythm, it's not gonna cause a problem. I swear to God, something just moved behind me. Bending, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's another thing that adds color. Because, like, I could do that, or I could... Vibrato and bending are very similar things. I'm just getting down and technical, down and dirty with it. I think bending is slightly more important. It's not... If you learn bending, you're going to learn vibrato, though. I mean, come on. Palm muting is used for other things than Metallica songs. Not that I don't fucking love playing Metallica songs. What I find it very useful for is dynamics, though. So, like, I've been playing the same basic lick all night, but it demonstrates really well, so... I could play that when a song's really loud and high energy, but when the song dies down... You know what I mean? It's gonna make it quieter, and you want to be quiet when the rest of the band is quiet. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's not something that you need. If you're not... Will you shut the fuck up, phone? If you're not playing something like metal, and if you're not doing something that has a lot of crazy dynamics, you definitely don't need it. Slide playing, a very niche technique. It doesn't really translate to any other techniques in guitar. It's kind of its own thing. It's kind of like you're playing a different instrument. Sort of like the pedal steel. Fuck. It's something that's good to know how to do depending on what you're doing. Like... I've always sucked ass at it, but I don't play a lot of the bluesy country shit. It's not something you need to know how to do unless you're trying to really expand on your versatility, which is a very good thing to do. A lot of the bluesy boomer guys are going to be mad about this. I'm going to put it in E tier. I highly respect slide playing, and I fucking love watching a good slide player play because it's different. You don't see it all the time anymore. But it's not something that you fucking need. Slap is kind of the same thing. I mean, come on. It's a cool technique to have if you're like in a Polyphia-esque group and you're just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, throw some slap riffs in there. And whatever. I'm not good at it. I'm gonna throw it in F tier. It's cool to know how to do. I like watching a good slap player play. Definitely not something you fucking need. Ghost notes. Ghost notes. Very funky technique that can also be used in many other genres of music. It's kind of like percussive acoustic guitar for pussies. It's just a way to add a very percussive style to your playing, and I do think it's very useful. I use it a lot in my personal playing. Something I've seen a lot of modern guitar players do is just have a little fill, I guess you could call it. They'll be playing a line, and then they'll hit the... That's cool as shit, right? Fuck, I think it's right with palm muting. It's a useful technique for sure, and you should probably learn how to do it. I should have done triads with the chords. It's A tier or S tier. It's about like bar chords when you really break it down. I mean, but there's so many different things you can use triads for. In this scenario, since this is all about techniques, this is just about knowing, similar to bar chords, where your triads are. Therefore, you can play any chord. You got an E right here. You got an E inversion right here. You got another E inversion right here. You know, and then talking about these chords and knowing where your chords and triads are, we need to have note location. Because how are you going to know... Fuck! How are you going to know that this is a C sharp minor triad without knowing that's a C sharp, that's an E, and that's a G sharp, or A flat. You smell good. Here's the deal, though. You can get away without knowing the notes. I'm not saying that you should. It makes things a lot harder sometimes. If you know, like, your modes and pentatonic scales, though, you can go by patterns. I did that for fucking years. Not saying you should. You shouldn't. It'll make you a much better guitar player if you learn where your notes are. Improv. I'll try to make this pretty quick, because it's not something I need to talk about that much. Depends on what you're doing. It's just a very good skill to have. Because, like, what if you fuck up the solo you had to learn for some gig? What if you fuck up? How do you get out of it without sounding like that? It's also just like you're going to be playing shit that just requires improv. I think improv is in B tier as well. You can get away without it just by learning solos note for note. It makes your life a lot easier, though, just learning how to improvise. And it's a lot of fucking fun as well. Just, it's hard to make it sound good, though. You got to practice to make it sound good. You can play all the right notes in the right key, and it will sound like shit if you don't add some feel to it, if you don't phrase it right. Let's do some of these pickings. Tremolo picking. It's like one of the first things that a lot of guitar players do that's fast, and that gives them a lot of inspiration to continue playing good, because it's not that hard to do. It's fun to build that speed up. You'll be sitting in class at school, just fucking doing this. Everyone thinks you're autistic. That's okay. I'm going to put it in D tier. It's something that you can get away without, but you should learn it because it's fucking cool. Alternate picking. Alternate picking is extremely important. If you're in the state right now where you have not started alternate picking when you're practicing scales or something, fucking do it. Stop being a puss. Come on. Come on. Get in the habit of picking everything up and down that isn't a fucking Metallica riff. Okay? It's good for you. I don't give a fuck if it's your style to downpick everything. You know what that gets you? Slow guitar playing and sloppy guitar playing. I think alternate picking is a B tier. Again, you can get away without it, but it's extremely important to soloing. If you want to solo good, you kind of have to know how to alternate pick, in my personal opinion. It just makes things flow easier. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And then you only start with just a little bit, and then you come back out, come back up, and you go back down and go a little bit more. And you go back out, and then you go back in. You go back in with the same enthusiasm you did that first time going in. Just a little bit, and then you come back out. And then at that point, the guitar is crying. It's about to explode. It's about to explode. I want you to do that routine about 10 more times. Fucking finger picking. Not essential. I think it's good to know how to do. I think it's good to do anything with this hand, with your right hand. Just to build up those muscles, I guess. I don't fucking know. So like with regular chords, it's good for arpeggiating and stuff if you just know how to finger pick. Another thing is it's similar to palm muting. It's good for dynamics, in blues especially, because I can go from a something like that, and then when the dynamic dies down, I drop the pick, put it in my mouth, maybe. I think it's a C tier. I think it's right in the middle. Hybrid picking, on the other hand, I've noticed is actually very practical. It's just practical to pick it with your middle finger. So yeah, I can mix them. So I find it to be useful. I don't think you need it. I think it's practical, though, and I think it's right there with finger picking. Economy picking, kind of similar. I found it to be very practical. I only started doing it, like, maybe a year ago. If you guys don't know what economy picking is, it's like I could alternate pick the minor scale. Or go down, up, down. Now notice, on that last note, I'm already going down. So, grab that next note down as well. Then going back up is the same thing. I know really clean and fast guitar players that only alternate pick, though, and it's like, I think it's more of a personal preference thing rather than a practicality thing. I like economy picking, it just works better for me. Some people like alternate picking. The thing is, though, alternate picking, you still need it, because economy picking only works when there's an odd number of notes per string. So usually 3. There's not a lot of 5-note per string scales. So I think I'm going to put economy picking right under alternate picking. I think if you haven't tried it yet, you should. If you kind of got alternate picking down, it's going to feel really fucking weird at first, but it might help. Who knows? You guys might be kind of surprised about my opinion on sweeping, because I know I seem like the type of guy that would be like, it's boring as fuck. And it is, sometimes. Sweeping is very boring sometimes. There's a lot more to it than just the metal fucking... There's a lot more to it than that. That was the sloppiest sweep I've ever done. We use sweeps in fucking jazz, blues, rock. It's just a part of soloing. And you might not even realize it, but you might have sweep picked before. Usually, it's in the form of this. Check this shit out. Something like a... Hear that? That's a fucking sweep. I do think it's a very good technique to have. I'm actually going to put it in B tier. I meant to do this after rhythm. This is complex rhythm. So this is anything that isn't, I guess, 4/4 or 6/8. So like 7, 13, 9, 5. I think it's D tier. Some of you music theory fucking Belmont students might be upset with my placement of this. Think about it though. Is it as necessary as playing in 4 in time? Pentatonic scales. Yeah. Learn your fucking pentatonic scales. I mean, it's not fucking hard. It's 2 notes per string. Come on. Stop fucking whining about it. Oh, I want to play fucking Trust by Megadeth. I'm putting pentatonic scales in A tier, and here's why. These things are the fucking base for soloing on guitar, which is something I imagine most of you want to do. And that brings us over to modes! The fucking modes are where the pentatonic scales come from, at least 5 of the modes. Here's the deal with modes. I'm not looking at them from a theory perspective like, hey, I'm gonna write something in Dorian with the fucking major 4 right now. I'm not talking about it like that. I'm talking about being able to visualize this fucking fretboard as a whole. If we're playing in G major, you got G major right there, Dorian, and so on. It just goes up, and then you know immediately where are the notes that work in this key. No, I'm gonna drop modes to B tier because this is a list of like, can you get away without using it? You can get away without using it. It's just gonna make you such a better guitar player if you learn your modes. Exotic scales. This is anything beyond the modes of the major scale, so like harmonic minor and its modes, melodic minor and its modes, fucking Byzantine. I don't know. I think I'm gonna drop them down to E tier. I would say it's pretty important to learn like harmonic minor once you've really mastered the modes of the major scale, and then take it on to melodic minor if you want to, especially if you want to like get really proggy and jazzy. Do that. Definitely not fucking necessary though. It's fun. It's fun as shit to know some of this stuff because just gaining the knowledge of these things is fun, right? Right, guys? Now that we're done with all the scales, that brings up lick arsenal. Very important. I'm going to put it in B tier, I think. Like, some really good guitar players could improvise without a lick arsenal just by hearing, but most of us need some fucking licks to back us up. Because, like, I'll get stuck improvising and I'll think, oh, I have these licks that I worked on in my basement for 3 hours the other day. This might work here. I think you should definitely work on licks, so you have them. You'll have licks that are you. It's your expression. I want to die. For example, I've been working on a little lick that kind of closes out a phrase. I know that'll work at the end of a phrase if I need it, when we're going back to the root. Legato is kind of the key to going fast. I think you should work on legato just as much as you work on your alternate picking and as much as you work on everything else. Because for one thing, it builds the muscles in your fucking left hand really well. It's used in like fucking every guitar solo ever. When you really break it down, hammer-ons, pull-offs, fucking... It's pretty fucking important. I think I'm gonna put legato in A tier, even above alternate picking, which is strange, I know. I think tapping's in E tier. The only time it's actually like you need it is when you have some kind of line. When you need to get up to that note a lot faster. Not saying the tapping is boring. I fucking do it all the time. I'm just saying it's kind of like halfway between a bar trick and a useful technique. It's fun, though. It's a lot of fun. It's good to know how to do it. It adds a lot to a solo if you don't do it for more than 4 bars. I only got a few more. Basic theory. You guys are going to be fucking pissed at me. I'm putting this shit in S tier. I'm sorry. And the reason I want you to know this shit is so you can communicate with other musicians. You're gonna go into a band and you're gonna be like, so it's the 5th fret, but you want to put your pinky on that 7th fret on the D string, the A string, and then if you can tell them just fucking 2-5-1, and they know what that is, and you know what that is, you got a fucking song, just like that. Think about it that way. This shit is literally not hard. It's not hard stuff. It's not fucking algebra. Just for communication and basic songwriting. Complex theory. Nowhere near as important. I love complex music theory, personally, but that's because I'm a fucking geek. I will be the first to tell you, you don't need to know what the fuck negative harmony is. I'm gonna put in an E. It's not bad to learn it. It's just like, you don't need to. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't even know where to draw the line between basic theory and complex theory. I'm just saying there is a line to where it becomes like useful stuff, but not necessity. It's fun to learn things. It makes you feel like a fucking Chad, and that's something, you're already interested in music if you're watching this video. Just think about it. If you're interested in it, you'll probably learn some things. You know what I mean? It brings us over to ear training. Yeah, go watch my last video. Versatility, A tier. Yeah, learn other genres of music. Stop being a pussy. And finally, we got pinch harmonics. Let's do a C tier. And again, they add color. They add color to, see what I mean? Like, I could just hit that note. If you guys are new to guitar, don't pay attention to this tier list. I am stupid. I am an unintelligent dweeb. I don't know what I'm talking about at least 75% of the fucking time. I'm also belligerent and drunk.